Welcome back to a Deeper Dig conversation series. This is episode 43. We're here with Rock Burwell in North Hollywood, California. And for those who don't know who Rock is, he is the composer of the new hottest horror film, Obsession. Rock, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Hell yeah. Yeah, dude. Let's just start it from the beginning. Can you kind of tell us about the journey and how did you kind of get into music in general?
Ooh. Like we're talking like the journey from like the ground up.
It could be like the 30-second spiel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so like I'm originally from New England, like New Hampshire, and yeah, I mean music's always been a calling like forever, and you know played in bands and stuff as a kid, and then eventually like high school, you know, like SoundCloud era 2010s and stuff, you know, started making beats and working with like local rappers and stuff and producing and engineering for them. And that's kind of where my like career was built around. And then, yeah, eventually made the move out here in 2019. And, yeah, kind of kept that going, just producing pretty much for artists around here and, you know, mostly independent stuff. And then, I mean, the film stuff kind of came out of nowhere in the last year or so, and that's seeming to be the wave now. But, yeah, I mean, that's like the short spiel for you.
So it was originally hip hop that you kind of had gotten into?
Primarily, yeah. I mean, I grew up on like a lot, like emo, hardcore, alternative stuff. I mean, a wide range of everything. But I think just the accessibility of like being able to like pull out a computer and like make beats real quick kind of changed the game, and it just like was such a quick way to make cool music and work with people. I don't know, it just felt like you didn't have to go find someone's like basement and like gear and all that stuff. It really shrunk the size of like how to produce something. So
Totally.
So I think hip hop kind of, I don't know, naturally came out of that. And around that time I was listening to like a lot more. I feel like I almost exclusively listened to rap music for like probably like a 7-year span while
Same
I was
here.
Yeah.
What inspired your music taste, and also what kind of in the last year or so has inspired your composing?
That's a good question. I feel like where I'm from definitely inspires a lot of my music taste, especially like, you know, a nod back to the like emo and alternative hardcore stuff. There's like a big pocket of that where I'm from. And yeah, I don't know. I think like I've always been someone like, I'm pretty open to, I feel like I don't write off any like type of music, or I like to explore a lot, and I don't know, just stay open. I feel like I'm inspired by a whole lot of different stuff, and I don't know, there's like a combination of like the senses, I guess.
The sort of the like ambient synth was kind of what that feel has really resonated with us, and just kind of like the off-key moments, like not necessarily,
sure.
That's not necessarily probably the best way to describe it, but the thing that resonated with me when watching it was just kind of how beautiful the music was, but there was always a tinge that was just off, and like you knew that there was something wrong, but like not all the way wrong, and that was what kind of made everything unsettling. I don't know if you're familiar with the Y2K TV show Veronica Mars, but it
vaguely,
kind of,
yeah.
There's the music kind of, it reminded me of that TV show because she becomes like a detective with her dad when she's in high school, and a lot of those like scenes where she's like dealing with, you know, detective work or like things are mysterious, it kind of has that feel. So that was kind of what it grounded me toward.
For sure.
Yeah. No. And yeah, it's been really cool to kind of like feel that and like compare it to things that I already know of.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of interesting comparisons online of like stuff that, you know, wasn't even on my radar, but then I will check it out and I'm like, yeah, I see it for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that the ambient, ethereal, atmospheric, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. It resonates through a lot of different genres and other composers and all that. And so it's cool to be, I don't know, thrown around in those same conversations.
So how did you get approached for this project, and what was kind of the origin between you and Curry?
Yeah, it's kind of a crazy story. I feel really lucky. So I met Cooper and Curry through because they have their comedy duo, That's a Bad Idea, and I was connected with them through my friend Harry and we were running like a co-production business together, and he's a vocal coach and a great vocal producer and just an incredible musician. And it's funny because we actually didn't even really take on too many clients because we just kind of both got busy in different ways, but this happened to be the one project that we did.
No.
And Cooper and Curry came to us via our friend Marissa that Harry grew up with, and they were looking for someone to produce kind of it was like a sketch comedy song, like almost like a Lonely Island style thing that they were gonna make a music video for. And they just were looking for someone local to produce the song for them, and we got connected that way. And the song is fun, it's great. Worked on that, and it was during that process that he got greenlit for Obsession, and he started talking about it. He's like, bro, I just got I think the studio is gonna greenlight this project. And then I think he just liked working together, and he just straight up asked me, he's like, do you think you could score a feature? And I'm not going to say no. So that was pretty much it. And then I just, took a stab at it. I mean, we worked very closely on the project together. I so much credit to him for being such a visionary. He knew what he wanted, and that made it so much easier for me.
Did he originally want that style of music and then want you to work into it, or was that kind of you that was like, this is resonating with me, this is going to be good?
Collaborative for sure, but the references that he was giving me and just the general vibes, it was very intentional from the jump. That's what we were going for. Something that wasn't your traditional horror, that was playing to the romance and the love, the dreaminess, the sweetness, but always was a little off. And kind of that I don't know, I still don't even know the words to describe it when it's funny, but I'm not even sure the genre in which this score even is considered. But that kind of just uncanny, liminal, the stuff that's kind of popular on TikTok at the time, of these weird off vibes where you're really not sure what you're feeling. And so there were a lot of those types of references that we were pulling from. And
did you expect this to be such a big hit critically and commercially?
No, there's no way. I knew we were working on something special for sure, but the scope of how this is taken off is absolutely mind-blowing. I don't think any of us truly could have thought it would have gone this big.
For sure. My brother is a bit of a connoisseur, and I told him hey, I'm seeing this movie, and I was telling him all about it, and he was like, oh dude, I already went and saw it on Tuesday at 10 a.m. for a matinee. I saw it with my girlfriend, and it's amazing. It's the best thing I've seen in the last 10 years.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing to hear comments like that. It's been hard to believe, very surreal.
Have you gone to the movies to watch people's reactions?
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily to do that, but yeah, my girlfriend put together a surprise thing and brought me, to the theater, and there were 20 friends there waiting, and we all watched it together in a packed theater, and that was really cool. And just the premiere, and then at TIFF too, just being in these huge theaters with a bunch of people watching it, that's something I've never experienced before. It's been super cool.
We were talking about just the sheer volume of the production, and when we went and saw it, it felt like the roof was gonna fall out of the was gonna just break off of the movie theater. Sure. And there was some of the low end from the very top that was crackling. It seemed like the movie was the thing that was breaking the speaker. So
for sure, it is a loud movie in that. Yeah, once again, credit to Curry on that one. He pushed the limits. Like, we were in the post sound studio and, you know, getting the final mix together and stuff. And he's like, louder. And the dudes are like, we like almost legally can't go any louder than this.
That's crazy. Do you ever spook yourself out when you're making this type of stuff in the studio?
Rarely, but there were like a couple times, like, you know, because I'm out there, especially like towards the end of the process with the sleep schedule being so backwards, like 3, 4, 5 a.m. Like, you're starting to get a little like delirious yourself, and you know, it's that hour where like no one else is up right now. It feels very isolating, and like all of a sudden I'm like looking behind me and stuff, like, you know, picking out some sounds that feel, I don't know, like they're outside of my little comfort zone, and feeling a little paranoid and stuff.
Did you ever feel like cracking a willow to like give yourself more energy or to wish for something?
Well, I didn't have one. I do sitting in there now, which is fun, and I think I'm going to keep that thing in the box. But I had like a meditation practice that I feel like really held me down throughout this whole thing, where I would pretty much start every single day with like a 20-minute meditation to ground myself, because it was like a chaotic deadline, very, you know, hectic with the timing, and also just almost like putting like a prayer out there to the universe, or just like guide me to where I need to go. Totally. And I just had a lot of faith in that process.
Now, I feel like the meditation is definitely something that's underrated and can be used for ultimate power. I used to play competitive basketball when I was younger, and I kind of reached a threshold where like I wasn't really getting better. I was like 17, 18 years old, and my dad was the one that was like, yeah, like you need to stop like practicing the same thing over and over so much, and you need to just like get your mind right. You need to start meditating. You need to like get that aspect, because I'd already put in the 10,000 hours on all the other stuff. And so kind of the same thing, like that really clicked for me, and I started playing way better, and I was a much better player after the fact, like after I built that into sort of like my routine.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I don't think I could have pulled this off without that. Like, that really held me down, like 100%.
And you did you did most everything right here at home.
Yeah, like everything. 100%, yeah.
That's awesome.
In the little shed studio right behind the camera.
Yeah. I was asking you earlier if anyone kind of gives you any noise complaints, but you were saying thankfully no.
Yeah, never heard anything from the neighbors. So I guess I have no shared walls with anyone, so I think that, you know, does a lot. But we'll see. I guess we're just going to keep ramping it up with the more horror films, it seems like, on the horizon. So. Okay, yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that? What's your thought process behind that, and are you really enjoying sort of the horror aspect?
Yeah, I feel like this kind of broke me into like an art form, in a process that, you know, I really fell in love with, and I'm like really excited to work on more projects. It was, you know, like I always say, like music, working on music is like, it feels more abstract, where like you don't necessarily know what your final product is looking like. And it's the same goes for like film composing, I guess. But the fact that, like, you know, I had my whiteboard in there, and I'm like, okay, today I'm working on these scenes. And so it felt way more structured. I knew what I had to do, and I really liked that aspect of it, where, like, you know, sometimes you can fiddle with a song, like, to decide when a song's done, or if you need to switch it up or do a whole different like mix, revision, whatever. That process can sometimes go on forever. So I think like working in film, the deadlines and just everything feels like it's way more on the clock, like way more timed, and you know, that can be stressful, but at the same time that really pushed me in a way that I enjoyed.
Are there certain like go-tos that you have? Like my brother is an engineer, and he talks a lot about like his go-to plugins or his go-to this or that. Is there something are there things like that you were able to lean on during this project?
Yeah, for sure. Excuse me. I had a handful of plugins. Like, everything I did was in the box, and like all software pretty much, like hardly took anything from outside, like really no analog gear, which I know some people might not love to hear, because I think we did a good job of like really emulating some like vintage warm sounds. And I would love to have the budget and have the gear collection. We're just not there yet, but I used a lot of like the Arturia collection, which it emulates a lot of those vintage synths. And like Omnisphere is a massive one. I leaned on that heavy. And then like Spitfire stuff for a lot of the orchestral things, like those really held it down. And then I threw in some like acoustic guitar, and the song that seems to be getting the most love, like that actually did have some, I like recorded real instruments for it and stuff, but almost everything else was like totally in the box. Like it was very small budget, so I had to work with what I had.
Was it your job to sort of like add in some of those bangs during the jump scares, or was that not part of your composing?
A bit of both. Like the guys at Juniper Post really, went crazy on the sound design, but Curry was in there with me, and we were making sure moments had that impact, and he's like slamming on the chair like, I needed to sound like this, and just like huge. And so, I mean, if you listen to the soundtrack, like there are things, within the score that maybe would typically be considered sound design. I'm not even really sure how that works, but we put some of our own like big impacts in there and stuff, and some big rattlers and rumbles and all that.
Yeah, totally. What advice would you give to aspiring composers and people that are trying to do something similar?
I think this has been a tough question for me, because I have gotten a lot of messages from aspiring composers, and like, this is such a new world for me. Like this is the first feature I've ever scored, and I've only done one short before this. So like I said, I got really lucky with this process, and I think, I hate to say, like, being in LA was like maybe the most important part, because I would have never got connected to these people, and just being ready for the opportunity when it came my way. Like, I think that's what it boiled down to, and just like trusting intuition. And it was much more of like maybe you could say like a spiritual process than a real like technical process. I think I was just open to, allowing this to happen. And so yeah, I think like just keep working and just stay focused on the vision, on the dream, and put yourself in places where those opportunities could come your way. Like meet as many people as you can, try to find people that are like-minded to you, that work in, the same field, same styles. Like, I think that's what it boils down to more than anything else.
How do you stay ready? Like, is that something that's more of like a confidence thing, or is it something that you're hands-on with that kind of like physically grounds you?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I don't know. I feel like maybe when I was younger, I would get like psyched out by certain projects, but now I kind of just trust that if something, kind of that's bigger feeling comes my way, I believe that it's meant to happen, and I'm like this project, I'm just gonna focus on it and try my best, and like not try to beat myself up too much about it. Yeah, I work like a very fluid schedule. Like I'm not very like I wish I was more structured on like wake up and start at this hour and end at this hour, but my whole career has kind of been like taking on jobs and things like as they come, and yeah, just really trusting the process.
That's kind of how it's been for us, where like you can't, especially when you're in an industry that's so fluid, you can't necessarily like prepare and schedule everything or whatever. A lot of things end up being spontaneous, and just like you were saying, it's kind of just like being there in the flesh is what does half the work.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, just putting yourself in it.
Yeah.
Like I said, through a lot of this process, I feel like I was really just thrown into the fire, and you're either gonna, let it take you over or come out of it alive. I don't know if that's the best analogy, but that's how it felt at times, because it would have been, and maybe at times like I guess like to your point of maybe confidence, because I think that has been like maybe an issue for me throughout, and especially on something like this with like imposter syndrome, feeling like, am I qualified to do something like this? That's where that meditation once again came in, and like, just believing in myself and telling myself like, no, this is happening for a reason, and showing up for it. And yeah, like that truly was a major part for me.
And sometimes it's like maybe the qualifications are not necessarily on paper, but like people can feel it. That's kind of the thing. Like it kind of reminds me of like when you put something on your resume and you're like, oh, I worked there for like a year and a half, but your homie's like, just put 2 years, like kind of thing.
Yeah,
like it kind of helps push that along. But if you're confident in what you can do, then it kind of just helps move toward that direction.
Sure. Yeah.
So what's next for you? What do you see? What do you see for the future? And what's going on with music, and what's going on with composing?
Yeah. So, I mean, immediately what's next is Curry's next film, Anything But Ghosts. Like he's just started editing that this week. And so I feel like any day now I'm going to get some of the first footage, and it's go time for the next one. And so that is like the immediate next steps. I have a couple shorts that I'm finishing up as well from the past few months. And then, I mean, part of this rollout, like I also, on top of the score, I have like 5 original songs that are kind of tucked in the movie through different scenes, like just really in the background stuff, like in back of the party or in the car and stuff. But kind of use that as a soft launch for some of my other projects. I have a band project, more alternative rock stuff that has been a big focus, and I have like a ton of songs I'm trying to wrap up and start launching that as well.
Are some of those songs that you're mentioning, are they on we've been listening to the soundtrack on Apple Music and stuff. Are they on there?
No, the soundtrack is solely like the official soundtrack that's released is solely the score.
Gotcha.
And yeah, so I don't know. I've been thinking about like maybe putting together like an official playlist because there are some other songs like I think J.O. and Felly and Current Joys, like they're sprinkled in the mix too. So, I mean, those songs all play a big role in the movie as well.
Absolutely. Do you feel like now that things have changed, do you feel like you're gonna get some rest, or do you think you're just gonna need to become a machine nowadays?
I'm hoping to find the balance, because I haven't really felt well rested yet.
Yeah.
I think there is a healthy balance to find, and I think as things take a bit more shape, I'll I don't know, hopefully have a better like work-life balance. But yeah, I mean, these projects, like it's hard for me to not let it fully take me over and kind of go like blood, sweat, and tears mode. And yeah. So yeah, I yearn to find that balance and the rest. And yeah, because this project definitely took a lot out of me, but I would do it all again like a million times.
Yeah, that's so sick. It means that you were the right man for the job.
I guess so. Seems to be.
Well, I wanted to thank you for coming along and speaking with us. We're a big fan of your work, and we really appreciate you welcoming us with open arms. And if you haven't seen that movie, you better go see that movie, Obsession. We've seen it. Tony's seen it 3 times in the last week, so that'll tell you what you need to know about it. But thank you so much, sir. And
thank you.
Big things in the future.
Yeah, hell yeah, I appreciate it. And, yeah, thanks for having me once again.
Hell yeah. And then we usually do a little mic touch. Hell yeah.
Nice.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you.
Thank you.